This is the internship orientation video for SPMG 4686. Much of what is covered in this presentation is the information necessary for successful completion of the internship requirement for the Sport Management Program at the University of West Georgia. I'm Markeisha Henderson, and I am the Program Coordinator for the Sport Management Program. It is very likely you've had me for pre-internship seminar, and I'll also serve as your internship instructor. On occasion, we do have other faculty members serve as internship instructors, particularly in those semesters where there's a high volume of participants. If you are unsure who your internship instructor is for this term, that information can be located on CourseDin as well as in your syllabus based on your section number. Listed on this slide are the various ways in which documents can be sent pertaining to your internship, whether it be timesheets or forms, evaluations, etc. Email is my preferred method of communication with you. I prefer to correspond only with your issued westga.edu email address, and you will only receive correspondence from me in that manner. You may also drop off documents to my mailbox in the Coliseum, send them via fax, or stick them in the mail the old-fashioned way. I do want to say, if you do fax something to me, be sure to include a cover letter so that it can be routed appropriately. One thing I want you to remember is that regardless of the fact that you are not in a traditional classroom setting and you'll be on site working at your internship 35, 40 hours a week, you are still enrolled in a 12-credit course. That means that you are still going to be held accountable for assignments and assessments, and I will have to issue you a letter grade at the end of the term that impacts your GPA as well as your ability to graduate from the program. You'll be graded based on your performance not only at your internship site, but you will be graded on all of the required assignments and assessments, which includes journal entries, a paper, presentation, and other outcomes that we use to assess your professional development in this internship experience. Some examples of unsatisfactory completion of this course include not completing the required hours. For summer, it's 400. For fall and spring term, it's 520 hours. Unfavorable evaluations from your supervisors will also constitute unsatisfactory completion, as well as not completing assignments by the deadline. Most of the assignments are listed and will be submitted via CourseDin, so it's important that you log into CourseDin every week, just as you would if you were taking a traditional course. Start and end dates must be included on your internship acceptance form, or it will be returned to you for this information. The start date of your internship may be a different date than the first day of the semester. Our academic calendar does not always neatly align with the dates that the internship program that you're participating in on site has, so we understand that your employer may have you start your internship before the official start of the semester. You may also have a situation where your internship may end after graduation or end after the end of our academic calendar. In the event, you will still be held accountable for the start and end date that is listed on your internship acceptance form and expected to serve the entire time. Coursework for the course, however, does not begin until the official start of the semester, and it ends the day before graduation. So you will not be required to submit any paperwork or assignments unless you are within the time frame of the actual start and end date of the semester. This does not include tracking your hours. You will still need to fill out your timesheet and track your hours. You just don't have to turn them in until the timesheets are actually due. Internship dates may be outside of semester hours, and you are required to work your contractual dates. It is a contract. You do have to sign it. Your employer has to sign it. And it's important that you keep track of all time worked. Here's a pre-internship checklist. By now, you should have filled out the internship approval form and the agency acceptance form. The internship approval form is basically the document that says that the internship experience that you have selected meets the requirements of the sport management program. The agency acceptance form is the form that you sign accepting an offer to internship at that agency. Once this form is signed and turned in, you are not allowed to change your mind, and you will be bound and obligated to that internship. Right now, you're viewing the orientation video, so you can check that off your list. But make sure that you have subscribed to TK20. That information is listed in your syllabus. If you have not subscribed to TK20, which is a requirement in the College of Education, you must subscribe because you will be required at the end of this semester to complete an assessment. That assessment will only be available in TK20, and you must have a subscription in order to successfully complete that. You should review the latest version of the SPMG 4686 Internship Manual that is located on CourseDen. Be sure to read the syllabus in its entirety. You will be held accountable for all information and deadlines that are listed in your syllabus. At the end of the document, there is a syllabus statement form that verifies that you have read the syllabus, that you viewed the orientation video, and that you understand and accept the terms and conditions of this internship program. You will sign the syllabus statement form and return it to me, and that indicates that you are all ready to start your internship. Again, some of you may have already started before all of this stuff was done. You're not required to submit anything outside of the academic term for which you are registered, but all of these documents are due the first week of your internship, by the first week of your internship, or you will automatically be dropped from the program. Once all of your pre-internship things are taken care of, it's time to go to work. One of the first things you should do on your internship is have a meeting with your supervisor to discuss internship objectives. While you were interviewing, there may have been emails exchanged, there may have been verbal conversations. The internship objectives meeting is the opportunity to make sure that you understand what your expectations are and that the internship supervisor has a good idea of what type of experience you are expecting. It is a meeting of the minds between the two parties, and it is documented on a form that is due the first Friday of the semester. This is a very important meeting and should not be taken lightly. It's important that you get anything that you feel is important to you as it pertains to this experience in writing and signed off on. It doesn't matter if you talked about it in your interview. It doesn't matter if you mentioned that you wanted to get experience in a particular area and the internship supervisor agreed. What is going to matter when there is a conflict is what's on this form. So be sure that this form is thorough, attach additional sheets if necessary, but this meeting should include anything that you want to agree to, and should also be your opportunity to get your internship supervisor to agree to any terms and conditions that you may have previously discussed. This is also a time to discuss any off days needed. We don't recommend you taking time off from your internship. You have a very short period of time to complete these hours, and every day is going to be needed. But it's important that you know how holidays are going to be handled. For example, if you're doing a summer internship, you need to know if you're expected to work on the 4th of July. most of the time in sports, you don't get days off. And a lot of folks go to baseball games on the 4th of July. So if you are working, for example, with a baseball entity, then you might be required to work on the 4th of July. If you are working in the fall, you need to know, are you going to be off on Thanksgiving? And even though school is out for that entire week, I wouldn't expect to have the entire week off of your internship. Same is true for spring. Spring break, Martin Luther King holiday, President's Day, any other Easter, any other holiday or observed holiday, you need to understand whether or not you will be required to work. And you should not be requesting any days off once the internship has begun, or at least after this internship objectives meeting has taken place, unless it's an extreme emergency. You should also, during this meeting, discuss the dress code and any workplace etiquette, rules, or expectations. There is one day that is listed on your syllabus that you will have class. Be sure to inform them of this day and request off, or find out if you are able to take off. If you're not allowed to take off, I need to have that information right away so that you will not lose credit for not participating. There will be an opportunity to participate online, so you still need to inform them. So even if you may continue to work on that day, you may need some time to go to a quiet location and participate in the online class session so that you can do your presentation. But to reiterate, everything discussed verbally must be in writing, and you need to confirm any promises made during the interview process. Every week, you will be expected to do a journal entry summarizing your week. These journal entries are due every Monday by 11:59 p.m. I will review your journal entries on Tuesday. If I don't see them there, they're late, and you will lose points. The summary could be as minimal or as thorough as you make it. It's not really about quantity of information. I want to use this as an opportunity to learn about what type of experiences you are having, and also use the journal entries as a coaching mechanism for me to provide you with feedback on the various things that you're doing. This is also going to be our primary method of communication throughout the semester. So if you're having any problems, or if you need some advice, the best place to put that information is in your weekly journal entry, because you'll be guaranteed to have interaction with me once a week. Sometimes I'm going to read your journal entries and I won't have anything to say about it. It's just, great information, good job, I'll give you your points. Other times I may ask a question that you can address in your next journal entry, or challenge you to try something new, or give you some professional development advice. So it's important that you not only submit your journal entry, but read my feedback. If you're on a summer internship, you will be required to do 6 total journal entries. If you are interning in fall or spring, there will be a total of 12. Your first journal entry is not due until the week following the start of the semester. So when the semester begins, you work that week, your journal entry is due the following Monday. If you started your internship prior to the start of the semester, your very first journal entry should include all of the experiences that you've had up until that point. So for example, if you're interning in the summer, but you started your internship at the beginning of May, but this course doesn't begin until the beginning of June, your first journal entry should bring me up to speed on everything that you've done up until that point. You will be required to submit an evaluation from your internship supervisor at the midterm and at the end of the semester. The due dates for these evaluations are listed on the syllabus. I'll also send you a reminder because it's important that you just don't hand them a form and expect the internship supervisor to fill it out and send it back. This should be a conversation regarding your professional development, particularly at midterm, so that you can get the feedback and review your evaluation, find areas for improvement. You can email, fax, drop off your evaluation, or stick them in the mail, but they will not be considered valid unless they are signed by the supervisor. Should you receive an evaluation that in your perception is unfavorable, you have the opportunity to write a response to your evaluation because your evaluations have an impact on your grade. If you do not agree with the assessment, it's important that you write a one-page response and attach that to the evaluation as you submit it. It's also important that if you're having problems on your internship, that you document that information in your weekly journal entries. That will help me put your evaluation into context and possibly give you a grade adjustment based on sort of a pattern that I've seen emerge through your journal entries. But if the first time that I hear that you are having difficulty with your supervisor is during evaluation time, I'm usually not as open to amending the grade. At the end of the day, I don't want you focused so much on your grade. It's about a professional development experience. You are not going to have a significant grade reduction if you don't get a perfect evaluation. The grading system and grading scale is not set up so that you only can get an A or only pass the course if you get perfect evaluations. The evaluations are supposed to be instructive. They're not supposed to be punitive and decrease your grade. Now, if you get all zeros, then yeah, that's going to hurt your grade. But I'm more concerned with you getting the feedback. I know I'm going to get it every semester. If someone's going to get an evaluation that they're not pleased with, I'm going to tell you now and I'll tell you then. Don't worry about your grade. Read the feedback. If you think that the information is not accurate or reflective of your work, write your response. But I don't want you hung up so much on your grade that you're missing the opportunity to receive constructive criticism that will benefit you later on when you are out in the real world. The due dates for your timesheets are also on the syllabus. There is a template available on CourseDen for you to use, but if your agency requires you to clock in and out and you have a computer printout or you have to fill out a timesheet for them, there's no need to do duplicate timesheets. Just submit the timesheet that you would normally fill out for them. If they don't require you to fill out a timesheet, you can use the timesheet that is supplied on CourseDen to track your time. Either one that you submit needs to be signed by a supervisor. It's a good idea to do them every week and submit them in bulk at midterm and final. You don't have to send your timesheets in to me every week. I actually don't recommend that you do that because, especially in the summer, I'm not in the office every week. And so if you send in a timesheet and I don't necessarily get it the day that it was sent, or I'm not looking for it, it could get lost in the shuffle. I would prefer, and you don't have to, if you feel more comfortable sending them to me every week, I'll do my best to try to keep up with them. But I do prefer that I have at least the internship hours calculated from the beginning to the midterm by the due date that's listed on the syllabus, and your final timesheets are always due on that last Friday at the end of the semester, the day prior to graduation. At the end of the semester, you must have a minimum of 520 hours. If you're fall and spring, a minimum of 400 hours if you're summer. Regardless if you've reached the minimum hours, that's why that's in bold, you are still required to work until the date that's listed on the internship approval form. So even if you've reached 520 hours or 400 hours, if you're still required to be, you are still required to be on your internship until the date. Our requirement is a minimum requirement. You will be responsible for submitting a reflection paper and an updated resume. This is a 2 to 3 page paper due at the end of the semester and really shouldn't be hard if you've been keeping up with your journal entries. The paper should address your experience, how you would rate your site and your supervisor, and what's next for you. It's important, I want to back up to the site and supervisor. It's important that you provide the information on your site and supervisor because we have developed a pipeline of internship experiences, and we want to know whether or not this was a worthwhile experience, because if it wasn't, and if all you were doing was making copies and getting coffee, we won't send an internship there again. It's important, we do take your feedback about your site and about your supervisor seriously because it's important for us to make sure that we are finding internship experiences that are a good fit for our program. Along with your reflection paper, I would like for you to submit an updated resume to reflect new experiences and new contact information. So you will update the resumes that you did for pre-internship seminar and add this experience on your resume. I will review it just to make sure that it looks good, and I would also like for you to put your non-UWG email address on your resume so that once you've graduated, don't know how long you get to keep that email account, you can start giving new or prospective employers a good email address, because that's going to be essential for your job search coming up. There is one mandatory class meeting at the end of the experience at the Coliseum. The date is on the syllabus. Please inform your supervisor of this date during your internship objectives meeting. If you are interning more than 30 miles from campus or you are unable to get off work, you can participate either online the day of the class meeting or set up an individual meeting at another time. With your individual meetings, I can come out to you, or if you are too far away, we can conduct it via web chat or on the phone. You will be required to do a brief 2 to 3 minute presentation on your paper and participate in a symposium style discussion where we will ask you questions about your experience and what you've learned, but you will present to your other classmates your internship experience at that time. Bring to class with you your paper and an updated resume, and you will also be filling out course evaluations. You will also be required to write or type a thank you letter to your internship supervisor and anyone else who participated in your professional development this semester. Before you give them the letter, I would like for you to submit the content of that letter on CourseDen for feedback. So whatever you plan on writing, put that on CourseDen. There will be a Dropbox for it. I will review your thank you letter and give you feedback on it before you actually send it. I prefer handwritten notes because it's more personal, and I think we're kind of getting away with that in this technology age. It shows that you really took time and you care. But if you have poor penmanship or don't feel comfortable writing, it's appropriate for you to type a thank you letter in a business format using your letterhead that you've established with your resume and cover letter. You can write a thank you letter, type a thank you letter. But either way, I want to review the content before you submit it, because these thank yous are very important to our program, and it's important that our employers feel appreciated for the professional development experiences that they have provided you, and will be willing to take other West Georgia students in the future because you are so polite and wonderful. This concludes the internship orientation. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask for support. That is why I'm here. That is why you're assigned an instructor to help guide you through this process. You're not in it alone. If you run into any problems with your internship, you are more than welcome to request my assistance. I don't typically hover, meaning I'm not going to come up to your internship and observe you on your job. I like to keep a very safe and comfortable distance so that you can navigate some things on your own. But if you need me to come on site, I'm more than willing to do that. If you want me to observe any of your experiences, or if you have something exciting going on that you want me to observe or be a part of, I'm more than happy to. But don't hesitate to ask if you need it. With that, I wish you all the best, and I implore that you greet each day of your internship experience with all the professionalism and the tools that we have equipped you with thus far. I'm sure you'll be great, and I hope all goes well for you this semester. Take care.